the 45th president of the United States, former President Trump, has announced yesterday that he is, in fact, seeking the Republican nomination for president for 2024. This is an unusual situation to have a presidential announcement 2 years before. Now, I'm not going to be shocked if Joe Biden now waits because, a lot of people, one of the strategies may be here, folks, is wait if you're a Republican too and see how he plays out over the next 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And, like some people called in saying, I'm all for him. Some are saying, I think he's, alienated a lot of people. So anyways, we're going to get your comments on this. But I think that, it's the one thing that we have to say is this is a unique moment in American history, CC, in the sense that it's so early in the process. I mean, basically the midterm just ended. I mean, they're still counting.
Can he carry the energy? Can he carry the attention and keep the attention for 2 full years? I mean, really, attention span is very short. You see TikTok videos or whatever, it's like, 30 seconds. Like that's people's attention span. And so 2 years is a long time to have to keep that energy going and the attention on you.
This was a point he made yesterday. The Dow closed, when Donald Trump went to office, the Dow was like at 17,000 or 16,000. It closed for the first time at 20,000 and topped 30,000 in 2020. 2 years later, we're still barely staying above 30,000, and we've been down in the 28,000 range. So you asked the right questions, Ronald, when it comes to policy. I again question, I'm not a political scientist, but I question whether you can keep the enthusiasm and the focus in place for the next 2 years. I think the giant rallies, these are very expensive things to put off. You don't get money from the RNC anymore. He's a candidate. It's just a whole different ballgame.
It's unmistakable that Donald Trump was better in terms of strategically positioning the United States in terms of geopolitical affairs than virtually any president we've had in the last 20 years. In other words, he was restrained, but he was willing to respond. However, I still think in terms of domestic politics, people that do not necessarily have Josephine's perspective, they are going to focus on personality. And the American people, for whatever reason, often focus on an individual's personality. Yep. And I think at the end of the day, that could be a huge negative unless, for instance, we're facing a heightened prospect of World War III.
He said inflation was basically non-existent. That was true. Southern border was the strongest that it had been. It was still problems on the border, and he acknowledged that, but it was the strongest. We were energy independent. Historic tax cuts and regulations. By the way, some of those are going to start expiring pretty soon here. I was talking with my family about that yesterday, so that's going to be a whole thing. China was paying tariffs to get goods into the United States. ISIS was defeated, the caliphate, in about a month. North Korea did not launch a single long-range missile. And he bragged about his relationship with Kim Jong-un, and then, of course, the Supreme Court, 3 Supreme Court justices. Now, those are accomplishments. The question oftentimes, I think, Cece, and then we're going to get right to the phones, is the policies were great. Was the messaging or the messenger the right person to deliver it? And is the country ready for that again, which we're going to hear from our folks. But it's hard to argue with the policy part.
Right. The policies were great. I mean, we see that. We see that with the Supreme Court that we have. We see that with everything you just listed. I think America was in a time of really greatness under his administration. Again, like you said, the messenger, sometimes he can be polarizing and, attacking people. And I think we didn't see that last night, which maybe was a little bit shocking to people because it wasn't the typical Donald Trump demeanor.
The accomplishments, unemployment reached 3.5%, lowest in a half century. Jobless claims hit a 50-year low. 1.2 million manufacturing jobs back in the United States. Dow was up to its highest points. $3.2 trillion in historic tax cuts. You start thinking to yourself, I did the same thing. I didn't like the tweets. And I had to deal with those tweets, as you know, as a lawyer. But it was like the policies sure were good. But I think delivery this next time is going to matter. I can get both of your opinions. Yeah. I do think delivery and how it's done this time matters.
Policies are great, but I think he has to focus on personality as well.
I think delivery is going to matter.
Delivery will matter, and also you have to to look at human nature. At some point, we can tire of the rhetoric.
We need to be able to see a vision cast. And I think at the beginning of the speech, the president did that. And then, it kind of trailed as it went on. But this is where the challenge is going to be for anybody that's running. And this is not going to be a no contest Republican primary. There are going to be people running. That's just the nature of the way this works. And that's how it's going to come down. And then we'll see at the end of the day where it leads.